Okay. USA 2, Northern Ireland 1. Welcome, everybody. Come hang out. Hope you all enjoyed the game. Yeah, interesting game. Lots and lots and lots to talk about. So I'm looking forward to it. Hope you guys are doing good. Always good to get 2 wins in a row on an international break. You know, even though it probably wasn't the toughest competition in the world, hey, 2 wins is 2 wins, right? Can't discount those wins. There's a lot to talk about, both tactically and in terms of individual player performances. John Johnson, thank you. Yeah, we just hit 5K yesterday, guys. Thank you for subscribing and liking and watching and telling your friends about it and sharing. I appreciate your support more than you know. All right. Alex Yakub, what's your opinion on Robinson? We'll get into player performances one by one in just a second. Let's get everybody in here, guys. Don't forget to like the stream so people can come find us. Smash that like button. It's helps other people to come in. So yeah, I am excited for the next game after this. We've got Honduras Olympic qualifier. It's going to be awesome. Tiger Turner, no Anthony slander. Artificial Joe, De La Torre is really technical. I want to see more from him. Yes, I was really, really impressed with De La Torre. So, yeah, we'll get into it. We will get into it. All right. How's everybody feeling? I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. 2 wins is 2 wins. Mostly good performances from most of the team. So that was exciting to see. The formation, yeah, I'm going to talk about the formation a little bit. So when you're playing 3 at the back, one of the advantages of playing 3 at the back is that you have either 2 guys up top or 3 guys up top, and then you still provide width, okay? So either you play a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-3. That's what I was hoping for, preferably a 3-5-2. The problem is we didn't do that. We went 3-4-2-1, which means the guy up top had no support. Hey, Fillipo, how are you, man?
Hey, Pete.
I'm just talking a little bit about the tactical formation and why it maybe wasn't the best. So, like I said, 3-5-2 or 3-4-3 are both good. 3-5-2 allows you to have 2 guys up top in the box so they can play off of each other, okay? 3-4-3 allows you 3 guys up top with the freedom for your fullbacks to bomb forward. We went 3-4-2-1. So what ended up happening was Sibachu or DK up top were mostly isolated, and we ended up congesting the midfield with 4 midfielders, right? Because you had Acosta, Musa, Reyna, and Pulisic all playing in the middle, and then the fullbacks couldn't get high enough and had no support. So I think that stopped it from being a more fluid game. But overall, I thought it was a good performance. Tyson, my mom's from Honduras, but F Honduras tonight. That's the spirit, man. That's the spirit. We need to win that game tonight more than anything to get to the Olympics. Filippo, quick thoughts on the game.
So same thing as you. Overall, I thought it was positive. Obviously, once again, not the toughest opponent by any means, but not the weakest anyway.
No.
I still think the 3 defender formation can work if done properly. It wasn't done properly once again. Maybe we could blame. Well, we have to blame Berhalter for it. I don't know if he didn't have enough time. I don't know if he doesn't know how to do it. Like we said. I
think it's hard when you have a new formation and you don't have time to train it. But I do think he could have used it different. Like a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-3 would have been better than what we saw, in my opinion.
So a couple things to point out in the game, a couple notes I made. First, what I saw from Zach Steffen today was he's a good goalkeeper, but he's not going to be a fantastic goalkeeper. The goal he allowed, it wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault. But a fantastic goalkeeper, an Alisson, a Neuer, maybe a Shaw in the future, would have flicked it, would have had the reflex to flick it, would have anticipated it. So that's the first thing I want to talk about. Second thing I want to talk about, Brendan Aronson. Congratulations. Class player, decision making on point, soccer IQ. Oh my God, tactical, aggressive. Love it. Love Brendan Aronson so far. Daryl DK showed us what he can do. Physical when it came to first touches, finishing, not technical. What we always say.
Yes. So
And Kelna
exactly
Costa,
that.
let's not talk about Acosta.
No, I'm going to talk about Acosta, but first let's stay with DK. DK, exactly what we've always said about him, right? A physical beast, but that first touch just lets him down. When he was through on goal, not the second time, but the first time, when Pulisic played him in, his first touch let him down, so he wasn't able to score. And a couple other times when he was holding up the ball, just that slightly heavy first touch, and then that sort of kills the play. Now, he's 20 years old, right? He has room to grow and room to improve. TM, by the way, thank you, Tyson. Let's go USA tonight. TM, Pete and Fillipo, the GOATs. Thank you, TM. Appreciate it. Appreciate all of you guys. Yeah, look, that's you're exactly right. I thought that, DK, I thought Sibachu. So here's where I liked Sibachu's hold-up play was excellent, I thought, right? His first touch was great. And also, he worked hard, right? You kept seeing him coming back to defend, and I really liked that from Sibachu. Where I think Sargent is better than Sibachu is that Sargent creates space by moving off the ball, right? Like, for example, in the second half against Jamaica, there's a 2v2. Okay, Gio Reyna has the ball. Sargent is running next to him. They've got two defenders. Now, there's not much for Sargent to do because he's heavily marked. So what he does is he makes an unselfish diagonal run to the right that drags his defender with him, and that creates space for Reyna to shoot with his left. Now, Reyna fluffed the shot, but just the movement off the ball from Sargent was so good. And that's why I think Sargent is still our number one. I was impressed with Sibachu, but his off-ball movement needs to improve dramatically.
I think, Pete, but adding to Sibachu that you're talking about, I think we should be very happy that he performed this way because it just proves you don't need to call up Zardes or Josie Altor. Sibachu can play that role, holding, very physical as well. More technical than DK, I would say. Not as strong as DK, but more technical. So we got a good variation going up top, a couple good options.
Yeah. And we still haven't seen Matthew Hoppe. I still think having a poacher on this team is important, and that's what Hoppe is. That neither Sargent nor Sibachu nor DK is a guy who makes those runs in the last 10 yards, and the timing of those runs is really good. So I still think I want to see Matthew Hoppe. But look, we've got depth, right? What we've learned in these last two performances against Jamaica and today was we have depth at multiple positions, guys. And I think that is really huge because we have so many competitions coming up. Gold Cup, Olympics, hopefully, depending on tonight. We need to have depth. The two players who impressed me. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Pulisic. Pulisic played central today, right? Very, very little on the wing, mostly central. And I thought he was good. There were moments where I thought he could release the ball quicker, right? But because he plays on the wing so much, it's natural for him to have so many touches on the ball. He isn't always going to be a one-touch passing guy, especially in the first half. Now, in the second half, he seemed to release the ball quicker and started to play more like a playmaker. And that through ball for DK was gorgeous. Some of his passes were really excellent, and he started to dictate the game, which was really good to see. I thought Reyna was better today. You didn't see him as frustrated and throwing his hands in the air, and he was quick to release the ball. Sometimes we see Reyna can be very selfish, right? But today, and even against Jamaica in both games, he was very good with his one-touch passing and then moving off the ball again. So really, really happy to see that. Let's talk about Acosta, guys. I said in the last game, Acosta is fine. When you have time and space, he's going to be good. He'll connect passes. He might even make a good dribbling run right through the center of midfield. But when you compress time and space and you put pressure on Acosta, he folds. And we saw it today. 3 bad giveaways in the first half and 2 needless fouls. Second half, 2 really bad giveaways. And in the second half, again with Acosta, what happened? We saw him receive a pass from Brian Reynolds, completely missed it. Okay, and then so it gives it away. Then he runs back to try to defend the giveaway and then gets nutmegged and they have a shot on goal. That's like Acosta in a nutshell, guys. And, for people who say, oh, we don't have anybody else to replace Adams. Luca De La Torre came on for the last 28 minutes and played so much better than Acosta did the entire 2 games.
Off his position.
All out of position. Why? Because he's very technical, De La Torre. You know what I mean? Super technical on the ball. I think Aronson and De La Torre impressed me the most of everybody today. I thought the two of them, when they came on, just looked so clean and comfortable on the ball. De La Torre's through ball for DK's second shot, excellent through ball, right? So very good to see. I don't know if he can do the defensive work that Adams can do. And I still would have liked Otasawi or Cappy to be given a chance. I don't know why they weren't.
And Pete, talking about Kellyn Acosta, because that's something they said in the stream when I was there during the game. They said other channels fluffed Acosta's first game. They talked about Acosta. So that's something we talk about quite often here. We're not going to fluff it. So if we saw Acosta doing bad, we're going to say it. If we see him doing well, we're going to say it. If it comes out as negative to some, it doesn't matter. We're going to still say what we saw, what we see. Yeah. And thankfully, Acosta proved us right today. And Pete, you have a bunch of donations to go through.
I know. I'm going to get to them. Okay. Let's start with Michael Garrison. My 2 cents. No more Acosta or Ream. Pulisic and Gio played like they should. Musa was once again impressive. Our wingbacks played great. DK should start. Okay. Mike, I was with you all the way until the end. So actually, I disagree about Ream. I thought Ream was pretty steady today. And he will probably continue to be John Brooks's backup going into World Cup qualifying. If that's the case, I hope Ream can get to a club where he'll play because he needs to be playing. Also, don't lose sight of Mark McKenzie. He wasn't here, but watch him at Genk. I think if not right away, he's going to overtake Ream at some point. But yes, no more Acosta. In my opinion, if you need a backup at the 6, you can even play Musa there. You can play De La Torre there. I would have liked to see Otasawi. I don't know. Maybe he was injured. Maybe he didn't perform well in camp. I'm not Berhalter. But yes, I agree with you. No more Acosta. You're right. Musa, very impressive. He's not always penetrative, but he's often very good with the keeping possession. He does not lose the ball. And that's excellent to see.
Pete, can I point out one thing about Musa?
Yes.
Just go on that. Early in the game, Kellyn Acosta made a very silly foul that was dangerous for Northern Ireland. The reason it happened was Yunus Musa's lazy defending. That's what I keep pointing out. Sometimes Musa at the defensive end, because he's young, he relaxes a little bit too much. And that was an example of what I pointed out a month ago.
So, look, he's 18 years old. Okay, I'm going to go easier on an 18-year-old than I am on a 25-year-old. All right, because 18-year-old young players, this is normal. I'm not saying it's fine. They need to work on it. But going up and down and having weaknesses in their game is understandable. We can point it out. We can call it out. Good. But that's okay. What also Musa makes up for that when he has the ball at his feet is great. So he needs to continue to develop, and we need to monitor that development and call out his strengths and his weaknesses. If you're 25 years old, I'm going to be a little bit harder on you, whether you play in Europe or whether you play in MLS. Okay? All right. AR, thank you, sir. By the way, thank you so much for these donations. You guys are freaking awesome. Feel like there's a percentage of our fans that don't weigh/rate technical ability enough. When you have Champions League level attackers, even one weak link in technical ability can collapse the attack because margins are so thin. Yes, exactly my point. When you up the level, they'll scout, right? Scouting these days is you can see every game from every player. You can scout. There's multiple information out there. You're going to scout Acosta. If you are, say we're playing, I don't even think it has to be a Champions League team, but let's say we're playing Germany. If I'm the German coach, I'm going to be like, every time Acosta has the ball, I want him pressed very, very high, right? You identify weak points and you attack them. And I'm not just making this about Acosta. All of our players need to have technical ability. That's why when Aronson came on and when De La Torre came on, and they showed that 360-degree technique again, both feet on the half turn, dribbling out of, tight spaces. I love that. We need more of that. And it's good to see that we're starting to have depth players like that. Okay? But yes, we need to continue to preach the technical doctrine, guys. AR, you're 100% right. All right. Ben Roybal, Pete and Fillipo. What's Berhalter's obsession with MLS players? Please explain this to me. Okay. People, I don't want this to sound like we're against MLS because I have been on record as saying, and I think it showed again today, that Aaron Long is a better defender than Matt Miazga. Matt Miazga is better with the ball at his feet, but as far as pure defending goes, I like Aaron Long better. I have no problem with Aaron Long continuing to be on the national team. Sebastian Lletget does two things very well. He's a connector of passes. He's ball safe. He can keep possession of the ball. He isn't always penetrative with the ball at his feet, but he connects passes well. And the other thing he does really well is he finishes chances. You give Lletget a chance, he will score. He almost scored late in the game from outside the ball. A nice late, makes those late runs really well, and then he finishes them. Okay? I have no problem with Lletget continuing to be on the national team. Acosta, though, not so much. So we need to change the conversation from MLS players to European players to good players, technical players, players that fit the system, that fit the position, right? That's really the important thing that I think we need to be talking about, because otherwise it becomes this MLS versus Europe, which is not the case. I've criticized Matt Miazga, even though he plays in Europe. I think he's a liability sometimes. He's unreliable. Although today I thought he was pretty steady for the most part. Sorry.
Paul Arriola plays in Europe.
Paul Arriola plays in Europe. I think Paul Arriola is a hard worker. I think he's going to work hard for you, and I think he's going to connect passes and be ball secure mostly. I just don't think he offers you a lot penetratively, whether he plays in Europe or not. Okay? Jordan Morris. I like Jordan Morris. He plays in MLS. It's a shame he's injured. I think Morris should continue to be involved with the national team. I think his pace gives you a lot on the counterattack. And by the way, one of the big takeaways from these two games is that a lot of our best moments, guys, come in transition. Breaking down teams is hard. And we're going to learn this in CONCACAF again, right? When teams are bunkering against you, it's very difficult to break them down. And sometimes you need to bring them out a little bit and try to hit them on the transition to penetrate their back line. Now, in CONCACAF, we're going to see this over and over and over again. And it's important to keep that in mind. The other thing is when another team is, when they're defending, they're going to want to hit us on the counter. So if you have a guy who's giving the ball away sloppily, Acosta, then what's going to happen? You're now vulnerable to a counterattack, as we saw today, several times. So that's important to think about when you're a possession team. What happens when you lose the ball, right?
Well, yeah, go ahead, Fillipo. And it's the same thing you were saying about the importance of technical ability, especially in the CONCACAF right now, is the U.S. will have, let's say, the second best team in the CONCACAF, and in the future, likely the number one. When you're playing teams that are very defensive, you need players with technical ability to break that defense, to maybe get a foul near the box, flare. And if we keep just putting, look, is Daryl DK a good player? Yeah, but if we had a team full of Daryl DKs there, guys that are not very technical and athletic, it would be almost impossible to break a defense, a park the bus defense. So, but go to AR for another donation.
AR, wow, you are on fire today. Thank you, man. People don't get that this is why guys like Acosta, against condensed time/space, bring our team down, because you can see our players hesitate to pass to him, which makes them more likely to make mistakes. I agree. And I said this before. I said this in the last game. A lot of people thought he played really well, and I got some hate on Twitter. I got some hate here on YouTube. I'm going to tell you what I think, guys. That's just the truth, okay? If you disagree, that's fine. We can disagree. If you think I'm biased against MLS, I'm telling you I'm not, okay? And if you want to think that, that's okay. I can't change your opinion, all right? AR, thank you, man, for these donations. You are like on fire today, and we really appreciate it. Should give this guy an honorary membership to YouTube. All right. And by the way, thanks for all the new guys who jumped on Patreon. We had a surge of new Patreon guys in the last 5 days, and I really, really appreciate that. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it. Both of us, we really appreciate all the support. Teabag, would you prefer Robinson, Dest, or Reynolds? Robinson, Dest, or Dest, Reynolds? Oh, wow.
He's probably saying Dest is a left back or left wing back.
Yeah. I still prefer Dest at the right and Robinson at the left. I thought Robinson was pretty steady today. Yes, I know at the end he fluffed that chance that he should have crossed to Aronson, but I think he was injured. I think after he went down injured, I don't think he was fully recovered from that.
Let me ask you a question.
Other than that, he was good.
A question on that. So the goal for Northern Ireland, Miazga fails. Chris Richards covers their forward, and a player comes from the wing, the right wing. Do you blame Tim Ream or Robinson there for not following through with the player?
Yeah, I thought Robinson should have dropped back faster than he did, but I saw him limping, so I'm not sure if that's why. Okay. You know what I mean? Ream should have done better with the closing down, and then Chris Richards even I thought could have done better. So it's it's similar to the goal he conceded against Jamaica, where several players are to blame. Usually a defending and Stefan, right? So it's like a string of like, could he have done better? Yes. Could he have done better? Yes. Usually like when you concede a goal, it's a defensive breakdown across multiple areas. It's not just one guy, right? Many times Acosta gave the ball away and it led to a counterattack, but other people covered for him, or the shot was right at Stefan. So he didn't concede a goal.
That's a narrative that we fight against very often here at the channels, and we talk about. A lot of the times you'll see someone that's maybe a fan or even a TV analyst at times, and he'll usually blame the goal on the last player he saw involved. the last defender he saw involved, but he doesn't see how it was all constructed. Why did that happen? Why did it get to that point? And did that player actually fail? Maybe he was just trying to cover someone else's mistake. So don't blame the last player ever. Look at the whole play and what happened. And that's what we were talking about the Jamaica goal. Some people are blaming Chris Richards, which is nonsense. He was covering 2 mistakes in that play, for example.
Yeah. So. And maybe Chris Richards could have gotten to the ball quicker. Yeah. Sure. Right. You can say that, but you can't just blame the last guy. And look, but what this does bring up, guys, and this is important, is that Berhalter now has to figure out if we're going to be a possession team, because for many years, the U.S. has not been a possession team, right? Now we have the players to do it technically, and so we're going to attack teams, we're going to have possession of the ball, and we're going to try to break down tight teams. The downside of that, which the U.S. has exploited for many years, is that can make you vulnerable to a counterattack. Because when you lose the ball, you're in attacking shape. That means you're exposed defensively. And teams that can transition against you quickly will get chances on goal. So how do you set yourself up that even when you are attacking, you are still able to counter press? A lot of it is gegenpressing, right? Or counter pressing. When you lose possession, can you counter press quickly to prevent the counterattack? Can you set yourself up in such a way that you can snuff out those counterattacks? You know who's good at that? Tyler Adams. When there's a counterattack, Tyler Adams snuffs it out. Teabag, thank you for the donation.
Pete, one thing to point out too, these counterattacks, our players need to be a little bit smarter as well. As they lose the ball, sometimes it's smart to just foul at the offensive end. Make us a cheap foul real quick and stop the play. We don't do that yet. They need to learn to do that. That's all here.
Yeah, and that's gamesmanship, especially in CONCACAF. You see that a lot. Okay, I hope I'm not missing these donations, guys.
Pete, can I comment on this one?
What?
Can I say something about this one real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
For both channels, what I noticed is we're getting a lot of donations about Kellen Acosta.
Yeah, guys, look, I'm not going to keep going on and on about Acosta. I've said my piece about him. I think it was obvious to anybody who watched that game objectively today what he was. Christian Salas is joking, I'm guessing. LOL. All right. Aka the Seal, a.k.a. the Seal. I think Berhalter is trying out these MLS players for Gold Cup when the squad will be half Europe and half MLS to see how they do with Euro players. Possibly. It's very possible. I can see that. And Acosta will probably be in the Gold Cup roster. I can imagine that. Mm-hmm. And, I honestly think Acosta might be fine against some low-end CONCACAF teams. He might be just fine because they'll have time and space on the ball. Del Primo. In a 3-4-3, obviously McKennie and Adams start, but who would take off to sub in Aronson, De La Torre, Musa, or Otasawi? Yeah, look, sure, Adams and McKennie would probably start. But you know what? It's nice to have depth. Okay, if I know that I can bring on De La Torre or Aronson, okay, great. That's fantastic. You don't necessarily have to start every game. What if one of them is injured, right? McKennie or Adams, or in bad form, or sick, or their clubs won't let them go. Anything can happen, and you need quality and depth. That's what the U.S. has not had for a long time. And now we finally are building quality in depth. Wow. All right. Michael Baker, a Patreon supporter. How are you, sir? $100.
Now he needs to break that record. Michael, someone needs to break Michael's record now.
Thank you very much, Mike. We essentially had no midfield in the first half, with the exception of Musa to bail us out. There was no midfield in the second half until Aronson and De La Torre were inserted. I'm not sure what you mean by no midfield in the first half. I thought we were very crowded in midfield in the first half, but the problem was that we lacked balance in width and verticality because everybody was in midfield.
Are
you talking about distribution?
It was kind of bad in the first half.
Yeah, but again, why was distribution bad? Part of the reason was that we were very compact and there was no targets to hit. So what you end up doing is you end up passing the ball around this little block of 4 guys, okay? And then you have Sibachu coming deep. So now it's this circle of 5 guys, and then you pass it wide to Dest and Robinson on the wings, but they have nobody to hit. If you want good distribution, you need people moving off the ball, making runs, offering penetration, width, dragging defenders with them to create space. If you get too congested, which is what our formation was today, it becomes difficult. So I don't think as much it was about the personnel as much as it was about the shape of the team, right? And I think a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-3 would have offered more balance, more verticality. Does that make sense? I think
also
Mike?
When Aronson and De La Torre came in, DK was already in, and DK was making these runs that you're talking about. So that could have opened up some space. But yeah, the team did look better with Aronson and De La Torre because they also speed up the game more. Musa slows down the game a lot.
Yes. Musa. Yeah, he takes too many touches on the ball sometimes, right? But again, look, he's 18 years old. And guess what? He also keeps possession so well. He doesn't give the ball away. Once or twice he gave the ball away from what I saw. But very ball secure. Del Primo, sorry, I meant to put who would you take off? Yeah, no, I got that. No worries, man. Michael, thank you so much for the donation, sir. All right, we have 656 people on the chat.
He's asking who would you take off, McKennie or Adams? That's what he was asking.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I miss that?
Yeah, he said. Well, he asked. You responded. You just didn't finish. He's asking you. It was the $5 donation. He was asking if you have McKennie and Adams starting on a 3-4-3. Which one of those two would you take off to sub in Aronson, De La Torre, Musa, or Tasawi? Who would be off for these guys? I think you would say McKennie, maybe.
If you take off McKennie, it depends who you're bringing on. If you're bringing on like Brendan Aronson or De La Torre, I'd probably take off McKennie. If you're bringing off Adams, then I'd probably sub on Otasawi. I mean, it's a shame we didn't get to see Otasawi. Now, maybe he's not ready. Maybe I will, concede that. But it would have been worth a look, right? If you play him against one of the games, then you can see if he's not ready. We certainly saw that Acosta's not ready, so I don't see if there's much of a risk in a friendly to try Otasawi out. That being said, maybe Berhalter saw him in training and he just clearly was not up to snuff. That's not, nothing we can do about that. All right. Okay. I hope I'm getting all of these. Did I miss any donations? Please tell me if I did, guys.
I'm following here. I don't think so.
All right. Michael Baker, thanks again, man. I really, really appreciate that. That's very nice of you. All right. Where are we? Let's answer some questions here. Acosta should have been pulled off at the half. Yes, agree. Do I trust Adams? Here's a good one. Dismantled MX stockpile. Do you trust Adams and McKennie to advance the ball in a 3-4-2-1? Yes. I still think that shape is important, though. Okay, it's not always about personnel. It's about the way the team is set up. And a 3-4-2-1 for me doesn't give you enough. You don't get width and you don't get numbers high up the field. You don't get support for the striker, and you tend to congest the midfield, especially if you have a forward like Sibachu or Sargent who comes deep to hold up play. You understand? So, but yes, I trust Adams and McKennie in many, many different situations. Look at Pulisic today, playing central and showed he can do it well. That's the thing about good players. Even Gio Reyna, they can play in multiple positions, right? Not just one or two. They don't have to be stuck in one position. Good players can adapt, right? All right. What else have we got?
I'm trying to see if I find any. There's a lot of mess. I'm trying to see if I find something that's interesting here to talk as well. Let's see. Chelsea. Compare Brendan Aronson to Areola.
Completely different players. Completely different players. Aronson, 360-degree technique. Can pass and receive the ball with both feet on the half turn. Can advance the ball with a dribble. Moves off the ball much better. Player. Very intelligent. Honestly, his rate, what's most impressed me about Aronson is his rate of progress. From Philly, where that first year, I was like, I don't really rate this guy. And then the second year, he started adding some end product to his hustle. I was like, okay, better, but his decision-making was still poor. And ever since he's moved to Salzburg, I mean, that rate of progress has gone through the roof, which says a lot about their development system and probably also says a lot about Jesse Marsch and how Jesse Marsch has worked with Aronson.
And Aronson as well, because the player needs to be willing to improve.
And Aronson as well. Okay.
I'm looking for the Paxton, Pete.
I'm waiting for Paxton Aronson, too. He's a little different, but also a very good player, apparently. Watch MLS this season, Philly Union. Scott Helfrich. Thank the both of you for making this community great. Thank you, Scott. How much can we take away from these last few senior friendlies? What do you think will happen in the Switzerland game in 2 months? What is a good result in that game? Okay, first of all, Scott, thank you. This community doesn't exist without all of you guys. We're just two guys who are passionate about soccer and want to give our opinion. You guys make the community. So you guys come in and give your thoughts and support us and like the channel and share it and give us your opinions, which we need too, right? That's the whole thing about community. It's not us talking heads like, on TV. It's all of us sharing our opinions together. How much can we take from these last few senior friendlies? What?
I said we're only 2. You guys are the ones that actually build the community.
Yeah, there's 651 people in this stream right now. That's a huge community, and that's all of you guys. How much can we take away from these last few senior friendlies? In my opinion, a fair bit. You know, we learned a lot of things about certain players. We confirmed some things about certain players. We had a chance for these guys to play together again, to develop camaraderie, for Berhalter to see them. And we learned that certain tactical things can and cannot work. I think we took a lot away from it. What do you think, Fillipo?
What we took from these ones? Well, the first thing is, I don't want to touch on Kellen Acosta again, but I think we took away that a lot of the times MLS players, when it comes to a tougher defense, and we've seen that with a lot of them that moved to the championship, besides Zero DK, other ones that struggled, they don't work, and they shouldn't be starting for the USMNT. Along with that, we saw that the 3-defender formation, because Berhalter has tried this in the past before, it might be that just Berhalter does not know how to properly execute a 3-defender formation. It's not that he doesn't have the right players. He has the right players. He actually has the perfect players to make it work. He might just not know how to execute it. Another thing we can take away from it, I want to apologize to Tim Ream. He didn't look as bad as I expected. Didn't think he was anything special, but didn't look as bad. So I would like to apologize. Steady. Yeah, he did fine. He also looked fairly technical. Good passing. Got the assist for Giovanni
that's always been his strength. Reamy's always very good on the ball.
Another take we have is Pulisic and Reyna are very versatile up top. They can play central, they can play wide, and they're as effective. Another thing we take away from this. Did you respond to his Switzerland two months?
We're going through it one by one. Okay. Just to agree with Fillipo, I thought we saw that we have depth. I think the biggest takeaway from these two things is that we have depth in Aronson, in Leggett, in Conrad De La Fuente, even in Sibachu. Good depth, right? Mm-hmm. Even Daryl DK, good depth. You know, Chris Richards was added to the center back pool. You know what I mean? Like, he's very much part of that center back. Brian Reynolds, honestly, made his debut, and I thought he looked okay. Solid. He had some good moments in attack. He wasn't, out of his depth, I didn't think. He was okay defensively. More depth at right back. Depth is good. That's what we need. Maybe Brian Reynolds goes to the Olympics. You know what I mean? Let's talk about the Switzerland game. What do you think will happen in the Switzerland game in 2 months? What is a good result in that game? So, first of all, Switzerland, we need to I think it's a preparation game for Nations League. That's all it is, right? Because it's 4 days before the game against Honduras. So we play Switzerland. I don't think the full strength is going to play 90 minutes. They might play 45 just to kind of get, into a rhythm of playing together, practice the tactics. And then about the 60th minute, but Bert will probably pull a lot of those guys before Honduras. That's what I think. So it's not so much about the result. It's more about preparing us for Nations League. That's what I think the Switzerland game is for. What do you think, Fillipo?
Well, I think as well. I think we'll probably see full strength. They just won't play full 90 minutes. And the Swiss team is a very strong team. Out of the teams we played this year, if they go full strength, they're a tier 2 European team, and they face nations in Europe, the top nations. They'll lose 1-0. They'll pull up draws. They're very solid in the back. Connor talked about him a little bit in the stream because he's more familiar with the European national teams. Yeah. So a good result is a win. We should be able to win. But if we tie them and we play full strength and they play full strength, it's not a bad result by any means.
For sure. How much would we need to pay for you to get a tattoo of Roldan or Acosta's face? If you had to pick one to get tattooed on, who do you pick? No, not enough money in the world, my friend. Mm-hmm. I don't have any tattoos. Do you have any tattoos, Fillipo?
Oh, I have my whole arm and this.
Oh, really? Yeah, I've always wanted to get a tattoo of my favorite poem, Invictus. It's my favorite poem, and I've always loved what it means.
Not Acosta?
What?
Not Acosta? Kellen Acosta?
No, man. He's second. He's a close second. If I had to choose one, no, I don't have to choose any of them. Thank you, Mac, for your donation.
Pete, I think you skipped one donation. I'll tell you which one. Teabag. He asked, who's your man of the match?
Oh, sorry, Teabag. Man of the match. Oh, boy.
It's a tough one.
Good question. That is tough. I thought Pulisic was very good. I thought Reyna was good, but he didn't really play the whole game. It's hard to say.
Yeah, Bashu was good, too. Very good.
He was good. I'm not sure I would give him man of the match. I would say Pulisic.
The thing is, yeah, I would give it to Pulisic. He got the penalty kick. He was very active. He put Daryl DK in front of the goal, a ball that he stole himself. He went to the midfield and snatched it. And then if we put out of the bench players, didn't play enough minutes to get man of the match. But I thought Brendan Aronson was very good again today.
Yeah,
very good.
Aronson and De La Torre came on and did really well. Leggett came on and he played steady. Again, he wasn't penetrative or anything. He's going to be a steady connector of passes and finish chances when you get them to him. I would say Pulisic. But while you mentioned Sibachu, his little layoff for Pulisic's penalty off the outside of his right boot, beautiful, beautiful. I like to see that. You're a big player, but you still have some technique. Love it, love it. J Rag. When do you think we will be able to see DK get a start with the USMNT, since he has only had 2 short sub appearances? Probably not anytime soon. Because, but the summer is, you know what I mean? I mean, like maybe Gold Cup, maybe, or Olympics if he goes. But as far as the Nations League, we probably won't see DK because we're going to have Sargent. Well, I guess we'll see who he brings. That'll be interesting. What forwards do you think he brings to Gold Cup? I mean, not Gold Cup, Nations League. Definitely Sargent, right?
I think Siabashu might actually earn a spot after today.
Based on today, I could see him in the roster.
DK will battle.
DK goes to either Gold Cup or Olympics if we qualify.
Yeah, he might actually bring Matthew Hoppe because he's the poacher we need. So we could see Hoppe, Siabashu, and Sargent. And again, remember, guys, it depends on who's healthy as well.
Yeah, and in form.
Yeah.
There's also some people are saying Jesus Ferreira. For me, Jesus Ferreira is not ready to be with the senior team yet. Okay, hopefully he has a good game today against Honduras. I'm not convinced he is a number 9 for the senior team just yet. Thank you, J-Rag. There's one more. Spencer Nunn. I think DK should have started today. He made attacking direct runs and stretched Northern Ireland vertically to stretch out the congested midfield. Spencer, you're actually right. That's one thing that DK does well, is that he stretches the back line. But you have to remember, when he did that, we were in transition, okay? Because we scored first in the second half. Northern Ireland tried to get at us a little bit more. And in those moments, when you're in transition, yeah, you're right. You need a guy who can stretch the back line. Not convinced he should have started yet because his first touch still feels like it needs some work. So I don't think he's put himself in the conversation to be our starter yet. But he's young. He's got time to work on it. And I think he can continue to improve. For me, Sargent is still our number 1 striker.
Yeah, I think Siabachu too, as we weren't very high on him prior to the game. But I like what I saw from Siabachu. I think he could be in the mix. Daryl DK, to me, he's not new. I know Daryl DK very well. Everything he did today is what I expect from him. One thing he did improve quite a bit. He's more well-positioned than he was in his Orlando time. He's getting better runs. He's a lot smarter as a player right now. But the technical side, I didn't see any improvement from the Orlando days so far. None.
Yeah, that's something we're going to have to see more from DK, particularly his first touch. His first touch can be a little heavy, and that hurts him. Right. But hey, guys, we've got depth. This is important to see. All right. Thank you, Spencer. Soldier Boy Media. No question, just a donation. Thank you, Soldier Boy.
Now he made another donation for a question.
Oh, he did? Let me go find it.
Go down, you'll see it.
There we go.
It's a good question, actually. It's a great question.
Let's talk about USMNT set pieces. It needs a lot of work, right? You mean our set pieces or the opponent's set pieces? I'm guessing you're talking about ours. And yes, yeah, we had Kellen Acosta on set piece duty. And clearly he was told many times to put the ball at the near post. I'm not quite sure why, because it didn't ever really come off.
No one came to flick it. No one would ever be there to flick it.
Yeah, they would arrive too late. I saw what they were trying to do. I'd rather have Gio Reyna or even Sebastian Leggett on set pieces than Kellen Acosta. So I'm not sure why he was there, but he did take them. Defending set pieces, I thought we were okay today. Against a very physical, tall, dominant Northern Ireland team, I thought we defended set pieces quite well for the most part. So that was good to see. Yes, attacking set pieces, I want to see not just can we get the ball in the box and get our head to on it. I want to see variants. So different options. Can we play a 1-2 near the corner flag and release somebody, right? Can we try different set pieces where we have everybody run into the box and have a few guys hold on at the edge of the box and try to play it along the ground. I just think with set pieces, you need different options in order to confuse your opponent, because in scouting, it's so easy to scout set pieces now if you do the same thing on a regular basis, right?
Don't you think Berhalter is from time to time showing us he does have a couple issues getting ideas into the field?
I think that when we play the 4-3-3, and we've done it enough now, we're starting to see them get the hang of it, get the picture. I just don't see, it takes time, right? When you have so little time with these players, I understand that it takes time to get ideas onto the field because they arrive late. You have 2 or 3 days of training. One of the day before the game, you can't really train. You have to do a very light training, so you can't really work on stuff, right? So yes, I agree with you that sometimes we see Berhalter not being able to get his ideas across. I'm not going to hold that against him because he has so little time with these players. And the fact that we've seen the 4-3-3 really start to come together against Jamaica is positive. It shows that the ideas are slowly starting to be inculcated into this group. So I would say that.
Do you want to talk about, there's a question here, thoughts on Mexico losing to Wales? Want to quickly address that just for the fun of it?
Yes, let's address that. I watched the game, by the way. I watch every Mexico game because they are our biggest opponents, and I think it's important to scout them. I was impressed with Mexico's technical ability on the ball. Their technical floor is still really, really good. What they lacked in this game was penetration. And what that showed me is a lack of depth in Mexico's team. When you pull Raul Jimenez out of there, who did they have playing at center forward? I think it was Lozano.
It was Lozano. Lozano played.
Yeah, it was Lozano, and not very effective. Not his fault. He's not a center forward. He's more of a winger. But even Hector Herrera and Andres Guardado, they're starting to look heavy in midfield, especially Guardado. Not as good, and Edson Alvarez playing as a defender. What does that tell you? It tells you they don't have a lot of really good defenders in depth. Like Mexico's first 11 is really good, but you start to dig a little deeper, and there's some question marks there. Now, I think they're going to be fine up until about, Qatar. They're going to qualify. They're still a great team. And a lot of their guys who are playing with the Olympics are still very good too. If Raul Jimenez does not come back healthy, they have some problems because Chicharito is past it. JJ Macias, honestly, I watched him against the U.S. the other day. I wasn't that impressed. I mean, I thought he was okay, but nowhere near Raul Jimenez's level for sure. And Henry Martin, kind of the same thing, like decent, not great. Replacing Jimenez is going to be a very tough job for Mexico. So for their sake and for CONCACAF's sake, I hope Jimenez comes back and regains his form because he's the kind of guy you want playing in CONCACAF. He's just such a complete forward. So we'll see. But Mexico does need to figure that out. It's a big one for Tata Martino. All right, let's start answering some more questions. Do I think Turner will be on the World Cup roster? I think that there are 4 keepers who will compete for the World Cup roster. And I think it will be Steffen, Horvath, Turner, and Ochoa. So 3 of those 4 guys will be on the World Cup roster. I just don't know which 3. I'd say probably for sure Steffen if he's healthy. Turner, it depends. Can he continue to develop and also improve with his feet? Horvath, it depends. Can he find a club and start playing regularly because he needs to be playing? And Ochoa, can the form that we've seen so far in Olympic qualifying, can he bring that to RSL? And can he start to get more chances with the national team? How does he perform if we go to the Olympics, right? Those are big question marks. So, un isero. Todd, are you Welsh, Todd Cuddington? Tell us if you're Welsh. Your best Welsh. All right. USA is going to dominate CONCACAF. Yes, we will. Ryu Sarmiento. Guzan isn't gone yet. Yes, he is. Okay, stop this nonsense.
Hey, Brad Guzan.
No, guys. Brad Guzan is not even good in Atlanta anymore, and he's 36 years old. Okay, we do not need Brad Guzan. All right, I'd rather have JT Marcinkowski probably than Brad Guzan. All right, Steffen messes up a lot. Let's be honest. Yeah, I still think Steffen makes a lot of mistakes. Personally, after this season's over, I'd like to see Steffen go play regularly somewhere. I think he's learned some things at Manchester City, but I think the lack of playing time is hurting his confidence a little bit. I think he needs to be playing regularly.
Pete, someone mentioned, I lost the question, but someone asked, do you still think Greg Berhalter will call up Josie Altidore or Zardes?
No.
I think Altidore, not a chance.
Definitely not.
He hasn't even been talking about it. I wouldn't be surprised if he calls up Zardes.
Yeah. It's hard to know. Like Zardes, guys, hasn't been called up since Nations League. That's how long ago. He wasn't in January 2020. He wasn't there in November or December in 2020. He wasn't there in January 2021. And he wasn't in this camp, Zardes. Okay? Now, there's reasons for it. Sometimes injured, sometimes he had MLS.
Probably didn't release him now.
Yeah. But for me, if these are your last time you're looking at these guys, I personally wouldn't take Zardes. But no, I wouldn't surprise me if Berhalter did. Like if he took Sargent, Sibachu, and Zardes, I wouldn't hate it. I'd probably rather see Matthew Hoppe than Zardes. They're similar players. They're both poachers, except I think Hoppe's potential is through the roof.
I think we could see Zardes at the Gold Cup, though.
Possibly. Yeah, we could see Zardes at the Gold Cup. Akshay Singh wants the Klinsmann impression again. Guys, I did a Klinsmann impression when I was talking in Filippo's stream. I'm not going to do it again. It has to be natural. It has to be like in the moment. If at the moment. If I just start doing it, it's weird, But thank you, Akshay. Maybe in a moment I'll do it at some point, and then you guys can have a good laugh. All right. Funes Mori. Rogelio Funes Mori is another striker that could play for Mexico. Okay, Jorge, I haven't seen him play, so I'm curious what you think. Anybody who's seen him play, tell me what you think about Funes Mori, because I've heard his name bandied as another option as well. I haven't watched him enough, so I can't really comment on him. Okay.
I haven't either.
Let's talk Ivan Henriquez. Who was the biggest winner and biggest loser from the USMNT today? For me, Anthony Robinson was the biggest winner because of the uncertainty of left back, and clearly Acosta played himself out of the USMNT picture. I hope so, but I'm not Greg Berhalter. I don't know what he thinks, right? That's, in our opinion, that might be the case. I thought Anthony Robinson was a big winner. I thought he did really well today, minus a few things toward the end of the game, which I think was because he was injured. I honestly believe that. But I thought he was good in attack, and he was safe in defense. That was a big knock on Anthony Robinson, is that he couldn't defend as well. But I thought in this 3-5-2, A, he didn't have to, and B, in moments where he did, I thought he was good. So, yes. I thought Brendan Aronson was a big winner from this camp. I really do. I think he came in and showed not only that he can hang, but offer something really valuable to this team in midfield. Luca De La Torre, big winner. I want to see him again. Sargent, big winner. I think he came in and put his mark down against Jamaica and said, see, this is what I can do. Yeah, he didn't score, but he did everything else. Assisted, creating space, held up the ball well, defended, did everything you want from a center forward. Sibachu, I thought, was a big winner. Came in and had a good performance today. I think we'll see him again. What else?
The biggest
fans are saying we're better than Italy. Not quite yet.
The biggest winner today, too. One of them for me today was Giovanni Reyna, because despite it wasn't anything special, but he got his first senior capped goal. But that was his first goal, so I think it's a big deal for a player. Giovanni Reyna, that was his first goal with the senior squad.
No, he scored against Panama in the 6-2 win in November with that free kick. Remember the free kick along the ground? Yeah.
Regardless,
I think Reyna, despite his attitude problems, was okay in both of these games. I thought he played well.
And I think this game was a confidence boost for him. He's been struggling a little bit with Dortmund lately. And the biggest loser is maybe Alexi Lalas, because the MLS players didn't perform today. There's that too.
Yeah, I haven't talked about Brian Reynolds that much, but I thought Brian Reynolds was steady. So I think, he's put himself in especially after Cannon's perform. Okay, there's another loser. I thought Reggie Cannon did not perform well against Jamaica. And if you're not performing well against Jamaica's B team, there should be some question marks there. I don't think we shouldn't bring him back, but I think it's only fair to say that there's some question marks about Reggie Cannon. Okay?
Yeah.
And then maybe Brian Reynolds having a decent game. Tiny sample size, okay? 30 minutes. We need to see more of Brian Reynolds. He needs to start playing regularly with Roma, but I saw some potential there in the attack especially. Del Primo. Would bringing the A team to the Gold Cup be a good idea? I feel like we've addressed this so many times. No. The A team needs to play Nations League, and then they need to go have a month and a half, 6 weeks off and rest and recuperate and go back to their clubs and have good preseasons and then be fit and ready for World Cup qualifying. We have lots of depth we can use for Gold Cup and Olympics, not the senior team. Okay? Let's do Filippo. Let's go through the 11 today and the subs. We'll start with the 11. and just talk about, like, give him a player rating for the game. Okay, so a 1 out of 10. 10 being excellent, 1 being just terrible. Zach Steffen, what will you give him?
A 5. He was average.
I'll give him a 6. I'll give him a 6. I thought he was okay, but still had some moments that continued to like leave question marks. Serginho Dest.
I'll give him a 7. Very active, held the ball when we had it, tried. Didn't have as many defensive responsibilities, so that's a big. I'll give him a 7. Nothing special today. Better than the first.
He didn't really penetrate that well today, so I will give him a 7 as well. But I do think that was more the system that was played, a weakness of the system rather than his personal weakness. Aaron Long.
6. 6 or 5. I don't know.
What? I thought Aaron Long was great. He had 1 or 2 shaky moments, but all the back line did. I'm giving Aaron Long a 7.5.
The thing is, I don't think he was tested enough to give him that much.
But you can only, but you can only defend against the guys that are.
We'll go for 7 then. We'll go for 7.
I'm giving him 7.5.
I still think a 6. But the thing is how we rate too. Like Zach Steffen, I gave him a 5 on average. You gave him a 6. I think we have the same rating, just a different scale.
Maybe. Let's go Matt Miazga. I'm going to go 7 for Matt Miazga. Decent, not great. Decent.
I gave Long a 6, so I have to give Miazga a 6 as well. I can't give him more than Long for this game.
Fine. Tim Ream.
I give him a 7. I thought he did better than the other center backs, in my opinion. He impressed me what he did.
Yes.
Was better.
Right. But he still shares some responsibility for the goal. And also, he had that header to Steffen that was way too soft, and Steffen had to come out in the first half.
In the first half, he had one shaky moment, just like Long had shaky moments as well. Distributing, he was better. He played well, seemed more technical. And in the goal, it's what I was saying. In the goal, I blame a little bit of Ream. I blame everyone had a little bit of a blame. I saw that Ream also collided with Miazga at one point there too. Wasn't that? That might have been a reason why he wasn't at the play. No excuse there, but I think he was our best center back out of those 3 starting center backs. Just my opinion there.
Yeah, in terms of his distribution, I'm going to give him a 7 as well. Acosta, 4.
Yeah, I'll say 4, 3, something below average, below 5.
Yeah, he was a liability. Musa, I thought Musa was steady without being penetrative, but a lot of times Musa had to go very deep to receive the ball because Acosta couldn't. So I'm going to give him a 6.5.
Yeah, I would actually give Musa around a 6 or a 7 as well. I think he did his thing well. Like I said, the problem with the laziness on defense, it will go away with age. It's just about experience. Yeah, I'll give him a 7. I'll give Yunus Musa a 7.
Yeah, good. I'll give him 6.5. Pulisic.
Very good game. I want to give him a 8.5, maybe a 9.
Yeah. I'll give him 8.5. I thought there were moments in the first half where he held on to the ball a bit too long and sort of killed attacks that way, but then improved in the second half and, was always a threat. Every time he got on the ball, he was a threat. So I'll give him an 8.5. Reyna.
I think an 8.
Yeah, I'll give him an 8. Steady, good in possession. I thought he was unselfish today. Sometimes you didn't see Reyna's usual gag of like running with the ball incessantly.
Didn't put his head down.
No, and he didn't get frustrated like we saw against Jamaica. I think Berhalter might have had a chat with him about that, his attitude and mentality on the field. And he did well. Now, look, the goal was a deflected goal. But what impressed me about it was the way he faked the defender, right? He receives the ball on the half turn, faces up to the defender, fakes him one way, which then creates the space for the shot. So he really did create that goal pretty much on his own. So I'm going to give him 8.5 for Reyna. Where are we? Anthony Robinson. I'm going to give him an 8. I thought he was mostly good until the injury.
Yeah, if the injury did affect his game, an 8. Because then I don't want to blame him too much for the goal. The guy's banged up. It was a knee injury too. Hopefully it's nothing serious.
Yeah.
Who else are we missing? I think Siabashu.
Up top, Sibachu. I'll give him a 7.5 because he was good, but not great.
I give him a 7 because I did not like him the first 20 minutes. He seemed a little rusty out of it. The touch wasn't there. Then he improved his touch. Got a good move. For Pulisic, that penalty, it was his assist, technically. It was a nice layoff for Pulisic. You could give him an assist for the penalty creation.
Yeah.
I'll give him a 7.5 as well. I thought he was good. Good.
I think Sibachu has to be better moving off the ball because I don't think he was. But his
static,
hold-up play, very static. Very
Yeah.
static. Yeah. His hold-up play was nice, though. I liked his hold-up play. That was good. Let's see. Right after that, so those are the starters, okay? The guys who came on the second half. First was Leggett.
Brian Reynolds.
Well, first one, Leggett and Reynolds were the first. No, the first guy on was Leggett. I'm going to give Leggett a 6 because he was steady, didn't give the ball away unnecessarily, but didn't really offer much in terms of penetrating through the attack. So I'll give him a 6.5 even.
Yeah, I'll give him a 6.5 or 7 as well. He almost scored a goal again. It was a nice shot actually from him. One touch shot.
Yeah, arriving late to score.
I don't have many complaints about him today. Nothing to complain about.
No, he was fine. He was steady. People were saying the penalty was a dive. I didn't think it was a dive. I thought the guy tripped Pulisic up.
He clipped. Well, Pulisic does jump after, but he got clipped. It got clipped on the foot.
There was enough contact to trip him. So no, it wasn't a dive. A dive is if you don't get touched. Okay, Brendan Aronson, 8. I'll give Brendan Aronson an 8. I thought he was
8 as well because he didn't play too much. If he played more minutes if it was consistent, like 70 minutes playing like that, I would have given him maybe an 8.5, close to Pulisic and Reyna. He was very good.
Very good. Brian Reynolds, I'd give him a 7.
7,
I thought
solid.
He was steady, solid, didn't do anything, had some good attacking moments, right? Had some good crosses in, created opportunities himself, didn't look like a liability defensively, so great. Who else? Luca De La Torre.
7.5.
Yeah, 7.5. He wasn't on for very long, but whatever he did well. And he set up a beautiful goal chance for Daryl Dike, too, with a beautiful through ball. Just gorgeous. Even I'd give him an 8, I think.
Yeah.
Daryl
Dike. In both games. DK.
Yeah, he was very good in both games. Him and Aronson both.
So I actually am going to give DK a 7, which is pretty good. And the reason I'm going to give him, I know he missed an opportunity, but that's not his game. He's not a clinical finisher. He's not technical. I don't expect him to do what's not his game. What he's supposed to do, he did. I think he did fine.
Yeah, which is occupy the center backs, create havoc in the box, and stretch that back line with those runs, which he did. I think Spencer Nunn put it really well. When those balls were played in, the reason they could be played in is because he's playing on the shoulder of the last man and stretching the back line with those hard runs. So fantastic. Look, really good to see, guys. So much depth. Let's answer a few more questions here, and then Fillipo and I have to rest because we got another game in a few hours.
Yeah, we got the other one, the big game.
Everyone's coming back for that game, right? This is the biggest game of this whole window, honestly. So everybody better be back here, and you know. All right. Yeah.
Can I talk about Matthew Hoppy's transfers? Can we talk about that real quick?
Let's do that.
Let me just debunk this for everyone real quick. So I'm not going to tell you guys any sources or anything. 99% of the transfer news are fake. They're not true. 99 of them. And there's a couple hints there that you guys can see. Look at it this way. They put Barcelona, Manchester United, Bayern Munich, Liverpool. All these teams are interested in Matthew Hoppy. He's worth $3 million. That's very cheap for them. And then you see a team like Norwich and Valencia interested in them. I'm sorry. If Manchester United, Liverpool, Barcelona, Bayern are interested in Matthew Hoppy, Norwich and Valencia wouldn't even talk about it because they can't compete that money. And what's happening right now with Matthew Hoppy is he signed a new contract. They're going to get relegated. Likely what's happened is agents or someone else that could make money off of this transfer, could be even Schalke doing it. They're putting all these rumors to bump up his transfer price. Will he leave Schalke? It seems like it could happen because they're really trying to force it. But it won't be to any of these big teams. I could see him going to Valencia, actually. Norwich. Those might be true.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I can see that too. I'm curious. I don't think he should stay at Schalke. If he does, I hope he'll get more chances in the second Bundesliga because the guy is a poacher. He's not going to create for himself, but he will finish when you give him a chance. And his off-ball movement in the last 10 yards is really good. I saw a good one here. Okay, let's talk about this. Jonathan Roof. Dest on the left with link-up and overlapping chemistry with Pulisic. Could this be an argument for him to be on the left, actually? Look, I think we can see both. Dest can play either. And what that does is when we create rosters, it allows us to bring only 3 left backs. right now. I mean, 3 fullbacks. Right now, those fullbacks are going to be Dest and Robinson for sure, and then probably Cannon. So Dest can play on the left. I prefer him on the right. I think he's better on the right, but I think he can play on the left. I think defensively, he's not as good on the left, and I think that's important. I also think that Robinson has showed well today. And you have to remember, mostly we're going to be playing CONCACAF. I'm fine with either. If I had to put one, I'd put Dest on the right, Robinson on the left. If Dest is on the left, I'm fine with that too. Do you think Ream overtook Miazga in the depth chart? No, because they're different positions. Ream plays that left center back spot, and Miazga plays that right center back spot. So I don't think it's relevant. They're just different positions. All right. 2 more questions. Robinson played better than Cannon in this camp. Yes, I agree. I agree. Okay.
Todd is saying Reynolds over Cannon. It's still early to say, but in this camp,
it's too early.
Reynolds
played better. He played better today against a team where he had very few defensive responsibilities, right? So you can't take a 30-minute performance and say, okay, that, you know what I mean? We have to look at the arc of someone's career, see how he does, with Roma. He got his Roma debut right before this camp, so that was good to see. Let's see how he does before we start boosting him up. And you know what? DeAndre Yedlin's still in the mix. I think DeAndre Yedlin has some technical deficiencies, but maybe he'll defend better than Cannon. I don't know. We'll see. We will see. Pinch me. We really have 2 18-year-old cracks in Reyna and Musa. What a time to be a USMNT fan. Yes, man, it is a great time. And not just them. Pulisic is still 22. Adams is 21. McKennie's 22, right? I mean, all these guys. Dest is 20. You know what I mean? Like, they're all so young. And Richards is 20. Like,
Sargent is what, 22, 21? Sargent's 21. Who? Sargent is 21, right?
Sargent is 21. Hoppy is 19. I mean, Sibachu is 24. But, look, we have depth and they're young. The next 10, 15 years, guys, is going to be great. We're going to go take a break now, Fillipo and I.
1 second. There's one question I want you to address because I addressed it on my stream and David is asking here. I want you to talk about it real quick. David said, how much influence can Brian McBride have on the USMNT? And then he said, Fillipo said he thought it might take more time to clean things up. Obviously, if he is cleaning things up, but he expects more from Brian. What I said is Brian McBride has been there for maybe over a year. How long has it been?
He was introduced in the January camp in 2020, so just
over a year. Just over a year, and there was the pandemic and all that, so I don't think he was able to fully execute his job, even though so I don't know. I said I want to give him more time to say anything about him. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's hard to know what's going on at USSF behind the scenes. Like, we don't know exactly what Brian McBride is doing. I will say that when McBride came in, there was a spike in dual national recruitment. So I don't want to say for sure that Brian McBride was responsible for that, but I have heard rumors that one of the first things that Brian McBride did when he came in was make dual national recruitment a priority. And that is just something I heard from a source. I don't want to say it's 100% true, but if that's the case, then congratulations. Berhalter as well has done really good recruiting these players, going to their houses, talking to them, getting his assistant coaches to talk to them. So, yeah, I think McBride has done a lot. I also think that McBride has brought a different perspective. Ernie Stewart can be a little bit stubborn and one-dimensional at times. So I'm glad to see Brian McBride in there. I think he can do great things. I don't know everything that he's doing because we're not in USSF, so it's very hard to know. Last question, and then we're going to wrap it up. Archie Goss, thank you. Daryl DK is our future number 9. Wait and see. Maybe, man. Maybe. Who knows? He's 20 years old. I think we have better players right now, but the future is open. With young players, performances will go like this. So don't be surprised, right? It's like Musa today. Not his best game, but he's 18. That's going to happen. Guys, this is awesome. Thank you, everybody who donated. Thank you for everybody who liked. Go do it again. Smash that like button if you haven't already. You guys are awesome. We will see you in a couple of hours, starting off with Filippo's stream, half hour before kickoff, 40 minutes before kickoff, USA versus Honduras for a spot in the Olympics. Let's go, USA. See you guys later.
See you guys.